Chinga Pasada by Bobby Grace. What the fuck, Bobby? You guessed it. The river held the reflection of a full moon, and Nadine, on the other end of the telephone, held a full head of steam. What kind of desperate situation was that kid in to make her think becoming your wife was a good idea? It was coming. I could feel it like the low pressure that precedes a hurricane. Pfft, I said. Beats the hell out me. You can imagine my surprise. Bobby, she started, paused. I used the time to contemplate my decision to mention my recent run-in with the Mayan matchmakers. Before I'd reached a conclusion, she said, Jesus, Bobby, how could that have gone any way but wrong? Couldn't have looking back at it from here, I said. Some of it was fun, though. You're a fucking idiot, Bobby. This is a recurring theme with my best friend, Nadine. Nadine and I go way back to our days on the road, writing music and driving around playing it for anybody who would listen. She is my personal romantic advisor, whether I want her to be or not. More ex-wife than sister sometimes, but she's kept me out of jail, wedding chapels, and free clinics more times than I can count. So, I listen. There is no doubt that she thinks I'm an idiot when it comes to women, but I'm by God her idiot. And like most women, she cannot resist the urge to fix any man within her reach. The full moon was pretty high, and so was I by the time Nadine and I clawed our way through 1,500 miles of international cell phone grid to a decent connection that night. We were finally hanging together from different parts of the world like we do these days. Kudos to Tigo. Meet George Jetson. Anyhow, a few months back, an 18-year-old Kekchi, girl from an aldea downriver, a sister of two of Texas Mike's women, showed up on my doorstep with her 2-year-old son and moved in. It lasted a couple of months. She stole my shit. I threw her out. I'd told Nadine about it and was sitting back in my launcher, sipping a cold bottle of Gallo, anticipating the impending post-game critique. Nadine didn't disappoint me. Woo, Bobby. I know you thought some fucking how. Another false start. Look, babe. I figured I'd give Nadine a little push to get her started. She seemed to be using a bit too much choke on this one, probably flooded the carburetor. Through no action of my own, I found myself ass-deep in a bizarre situation of incomprehensible Byzantine complexity. A guy's got to ride out a thing like that to figure out what the fuck's happening and what the fuck he needs to do about it. You feel me? Yeah, Bobby. I'm feeling you, and it feels like you've got some kind of jungle fever, Nadine said. She was finally getting some traction. So you're telling me your friend asked you if you wanted to meet her sister, Nadine said. Aha, I said. An English aha this time, not a Kekchi aha. You said yes. Aha. And she showed up the next day and moved in? The effort she was using to wrap her brain around that showed in her voice. Hey, I understood. I had just lived through it. I was still a little bit shell-shocked myself. I gave Nadine another minute. See what I mean? Take your time, baby doll. I was stunned by it too. Takes a while to massage that into something comprehensible, doesn't it? She was 18 years old with a 2-year-old son, Nadine asked. Yup, I said. Thank God she wasn't a virgin, Nadine said. I counted that as a blessing too, so I said, I counted that as a blessing too. The poor girl really didn't have a lot going for her when she got here, other than being sort of cute. She's from an aldea downriver, a literal barefoot bush kid, 6 years of school. Hadn't met but 2 or 3 gringos before she moved in with me. Spoke Czechchi mostly, about as much Spanish as me, I told Nadine. Family, you said, she asked. Yeah, I said, that added a whole lot more monkeys to the circus. The family is influential along the lower river. A guy's got to watch his step here. They still banish people. More than one person, women, I'm sure, conspired to plant that girl on your doorstep, Nadine said. And I'm pretty sure it was no accident that she was delivered 5 days after the full moon. Oh yeah, there's a pretty aggressive placement organization for young, not quite virginal women here, I said, recalling my running gun battle with the gang of Mayan matchmakers in my aldea. And I'm sure they know all about pheromones because that girl sure brought some with her. Jesus, Bobby, Nadine said. I know, right? I said. Look, I would have said no thanks on the front end, or given her 300 quetzales, and sent her on her way the next day if it wasn't for the family thing. She was family. I was cautioned not to treat her as puta. And you thought, what? Nadine said. I don't know what I thought, I said honestly. When she got here, I'd never seen her before, didn't even know there was another sister in the family. Only learned after she got here that she was going to move in. Hell, I didn't know if she was a gift wife, because the family, or the village, or some fucking body somehow thought I was worthy of one of their daughters, or the family was dumping her off on me because she had become a problem for them, or what. Turned out to be the latter, but frankly, it took me a while to regain my senses. Having someone deliver a surprise wife to the door may be an everyday thing for some folks, but this was my first time. I was just trying to be cool and not f*** up, she finished for me with a sideways laugh. Yeah, I chuckled back. That was pretty much it. Are you broke again? Nadine asked. I said. Broker. I was already broke when she showed up. Things sort of spun out of control financially when the Mexican had her stroke. Nadine knew about the Mexican, a blonde cracker girl from the States. The Mexican doesn't live on the river. She just visits. A while back, the two of us were running hot and heavy together. She had a stroke. I spent all the money I had on doctors and meds. Maxed my credit card, zeroed my savings. Money got critical. I was ass-deep in debt to the locals and sinking by the minute. I had gone from first world broke to third world poor in a matter of weeks. After about 3 weeks, I took a yacht delivery gig to Roatan that I didn't want to take but had to. 2 days after I left, the Mexican went back to stay with her ex-husband. Jesus, Bobby, Nadine said. Yeah, I said. Women are expensive here. Everywhere, Nadine grinned through the phone grid. Pussy is a high-maintenance commodity for everybody involved with it. She ought to know. Look, lover boy, Nadine said. She was revving good now and getting ready to stomp the pedal. I checked my seatbelt. I've told you before, you're a fun guy for a girl to spend the weekend with. But you ain't the guy a girl is going to want to spend her life with. Stop taking in every stray that crosses your path and thinking that some fucking how she's going to buy some jungle magic become your happily ever after woman. You watched way too much Disney as a kid. You ain't living Pretty Woman. Wait. Am I George Clooney or Meryl Streep in that analogy, I said. Richard Gere or Julia Roberts? Dork, Nadine shot back. Can you use an analogy where I get to be Antonio Banderas? I asked. Jesus, Bobby. Shut up. Remember, we got history, Nadine said. I thought about that history quietly for a couple of beats, decided it was wise to stay quiet for a couple more. Nadine said, There's no kind of one woman who can fill that place in your universe. For that matter, there's probably no real place in your universe for a unicorn, even if you could find one. Well, it doesn't matter right now, I said. I'm on sabbatical, taking a hiatus, not even smiling at the barmaids. It's me, Bobby, Nadine said. I remember the panties and hotel room keys. You can't help yourself, and I love your dumb ass for it. What I'm trying to say is, you're a pretty lovable motherfucker until a woman is with you a while. Then she starts to realize the idea of being with you is way better than actually being with you. And then tries to steal the silverware and last roll of toilet paper, I asked. Yeah, Nadine laughed, but only as a last choice because you're fucking broke. I laughed. A beat. Nadine started giggling. I started giggling. The infection spread. She was laughing. I was laughing. Well past the point of knowing what the hell it was we started laughing about. Multiple orgasms of laughter cascading one after another into smaller tremors of chuckling and gasping for air, then back up again. We used several of minutes of airtime for the pleasure of laughing together. A snort, a sigh or two, finally breathing normally like exhausted lovers. The moon eased closer to the top of the mountains surrounding my patch of jungle. Well, babe, I said, keep your legs shaved. A sign-off from our old days. A pause. All right, buddy, Nadine finally said. Eyes on the prize. All we've got to do is get through the next gig and we'll have it made. Feeling risky, I said. I've always loved you best. But managed to make it sound sufficiently insincere to keep us both safe. Dicey territory for me and Nadine. We tread cautiously. Yeah, she said, but only because I never tried to steal your silverware.